As an introvert, you're constantly overthinking, anxious, and probably mentally drained. But is it because you're an introvert, or is it because you're always so worried about everybody else? What they think, how they might perceive you, how they feel, instead of simply living the life you want to live the way you want to live it? Hey, lovelies, welcome to the Introvert Lens. I'm your host, Kay Janelle. I created this podcast to talk about what life really feels like living misunderstood in a world that often condemns silence. And basically, all things introversion, the beauty, the struggles, and everything in between. Lately, I just really have not been playing about my peace. Like whatsoever, my peace, my energy, my growth, just protecting the person I'm becoming, the peace that I'm building, and not letting anybody interrupt that whatsoever. I've had to figure out some things about myself in order to do that. And man, for a long time, I have let other people, whether it's like people close to me or even just strangers, like society as a whole, really just control the things I do and the way I live. And I was not ready to come to that realization. Because what, me? There's no way. And I'm just over here like, yeah, no. Because who wants to like admit, yeah, I have been letting the judgments and the assumptions, and I've been letting it all get to me. I've been letting it shape me for a long time without ever really even realizing it. And it has been a hard pill to swallow. Because why would I do that? But at the end of the day, I am trying really hard not to be hard on myself about it. I am a very strong advocate of be who you are. I don't care if people think you're weird or quirky or whatever it is, be who you are. And no matter what, no matter who has a problem with it. And to realize that, like, I knew I had a long journey ahead of me. I knew I had some growth coming. I knew I had some growing I needed to do because I have always been very hard on myself. And then on the back end, I'm also not there for myself. I give and I give and I give to everybody else. I try to make other people more comfortable. I try to make other people feel better, even when it takes something from me. So it's like I knew I had a lot of growing to do in that area, but really just diving into who I am and realizing how much I don't even know who I am. It's been hard. It has been a really hard thing to come to terms with, but it has also been a very great thing to realize because now I am working on making sure that I do not live like that because I do not want to live like that. I want to live life the way I want to live life. I don't care who thinks what I do is weird or who thinks that my life is boring because it's too quiet or it's too slow because I'm not worried about what the next person thinks. I'm not building a life that everybody wants to live. I'm building the life I want to live. And I can't do that if I'm sitting here so worried about what other people may think or what other people may have to say that I'm never actually living how I want to live. It is not okay to be living for everybody else. And that does not have to be you constantly doing something for somebody. Sometimes that is you constantly making yourself smaller or constantly forcing yourself into situations and even conversations that you do not want to be a part of. That's become the norm. It should not be. Let's get into it. So, first of all, family. Now, it doesn't have to be like, oh, my family doesn't like me, or oh, my family's just mean to me, or they bully me, or anything like that. Is not how it always looks. Sometimes it's like my family just doesn't really understand me. And when it comes to family, I feel like it's definitely that much harder because they're family. No one wants to tell their family no. Or it's not even that you don't want to tell them, it's that when it comes to family, it can be so much harder to set those boundaries because they're family. And usually it sounds so negative, but I don't even mean it in a bad way. But y'all being family like makes people feel a little more entitled to you, to your time, to your energy. And again, I'm not saying that in a bad way because obviously your family, what you owe your family is much different than what you owe a stranger in society. But you don't owe anybody stepping outside of your boundaries, giving up yourself, giving up who you are. Yeah, no, I don't care who they are. I don't care who says it. I don't care why they say it. You do not owe that to anyone. Once you set boundaries, everyone needs to stick to those boundaries. At no point should anybody in your life be trying to test or cross any of your boundaries. It's a little harder to just say, well, you can let them think what they want. I'm like, but I still say it. Like, if there is a family member that's constantly making you feel bad about yourself, here she go acting all stuck up. Here she go acting like she can't talk to nobody. That that's a problem. We all know it was harder when we were kids. Hey, you better not be talking back. You better not talk that way to an adult. But we are grown now. Just because they are family does not give them the right to say, oh, well, I raised you. Oh, I see you, girl. I did this. It ain't even like that. No, you need to respect me. And constantly saying these things, somebody telling them they need to talk more, they're being stuck up, or like constantly just being nasty about what you know. Honestly, I feel like it's even worse when family does it because, yeah, you did help raise me. You did grow up around me, and you know that I'm not being stuck up. You know that I'm not being rude to anybody. You should know better than anybody that that is my personality. And the fact that you, of all people, family, are judging me about it is absolutely, like, it's just crazy. And then you expect me not to speak up? No, no, we're no longer doing that. We need to start speaking up to family because it's not okay for that family member to constantly make those little side comments or constantly say you're being this or you're being that or feel like they just have to say something every time you're quiet. Mind your business. And if you have that much of an issue with me and who I am, let that be known so that I can stay from around you. Family or not, if you have to go there with family, then go there. Because at the end of the day, they can think what they want to. Anybody that's trying to change anything that is a core value to you or that is something that makes you you is a problem, family or not. Yeah, I do think you should explain to like the people that are closer to you, especially your family, is they're constantly saying something. Now, not the nasty remarks, because clearly they don't care to know you. They just want to bully you. But the ones that like really seem to not get it, or the ones that like constantly maybe feel like there's something wrong, I feel like, yeah, explain it. I'm an introvert. If you're just somebody that's more subdued and more quiet, like I do say, yeah, explain that. Let them know how you feel and what that looks like for you and why this is why I'm a little different and this is how I feel. But do not feel like you need to constantly keep explaining because the people that so-called forget, they're not forgetting. They just feel like you should change, so they're trying to make you feel bad for who you are. No, we're not over explaining. Just allow them the chance to understand, if that makes sense. When it comes to family, when it comes to people you want in your life, definitely allow them the chance to understand. But don't be over explaining yourself. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Now, the strangers coming with assumptions, baby, yeah. It's like it's one of those things I can't explain because it seems like it would be so easy not to let what a stranger assumes affect you. But personally, it's not that easy. Like especially when it's a constant, especially when you keep seeing it, it's almost like, okay, that's a pattern. It can get to a point where it does start to get to you. Speaking from personal experience, even when it's strangers, it can get to you if you allow it to. One thing I realized is you do have, especially with strangers, it's something you have to allow to get to you. Remember that strangers with assumptions are just that. Like, they're strangers with assumptions. They don't know anything about you. They had to literally guess from whatever little tiny quick interaction you had or from seeing you from afar all the time. They don't know anything about you. So when you feel yourself starting to think about those moments, or when you feel yourself starting to think about what they have to say and like really just letting it in, yeah, no, push that back out. They don't know anything about you. Please keep that forefront in your mind when a stranger decides to push their assumptions on you or make you feel bad because of what they assumed. They don't know a thing about you. It's honestly laughable. Like, okay. Now those like strangers feel how you feel. I mean, it's really just funny, and it's weird that strangers so often decide that it's that another stranger is going to affect them enough that they need to be in a business. For what? You don't even know me. But never ever ever let it get you down. Before you let it get you down, go ahead and speak up and say what you got to say. Now, I think the ultimate, like, at least for me, the ultimate goal is to be able to be like, yeah, I heard it. I don't care. And literally just have it not affect your world whatsoever. Because they're strangers with assumptions. If they're making up like stuff about other strangers, if they have time in their heads to make all these assumptions and judgments and be haters, clearly they have nothing going on with life. So, yeah, they don't deserve any of your energy whatsoever. Strangers who take time out of their day to assume things about other people or judge other people or hate on other people, yeah, I'll never understand that. But they are definitely not worth you overthinking a situation. They are definitely not worth you getting anxious about a situation. Don't overthink those encounters. Don't overthink those moments. Because let me tell you, it's as simple as it looks like. They're bums with nothing else to do. Like, it's literally as straightforward as you think it is. It's just a bum, a hater, someone with nothing going in life, so they make other people feel down. But yeah, we're not allowing that. Because remember, a stranger with assumptions that they absolutely know nothing about you. Relationships. I don't just mean intimate relationships, even platonic relationships like your friendships and everything. I won't pretend to have mastered this, but I do say give friendships that same energy that you give family. If it's somebody you click with or somebody you know you want to be friends with or somebody you started to become friends with, this is somebody I enjoy their company. I'm going to explain who I am so that they don't have to play a guessing game. But remember, we're not over explaining because people are not just when these are people close to you, they're not just up and forgetting who you are. Especially if you're a super subdued person, you're always kind of quiet, or you're somebody who, like, it's very known she love her solitude, baby, or she's a homebody. She don't really play about her time. The social battery ain't gonna last forever. It's not even gonna last long. So she's intentional with her time. People do not forget stuff like that. The friends, the family, people who you're around all the time, they're not just up and forgetting. Anybody who decides that they're going to pretend that they forgot who you are, what kind of person you are, unless they have dementia, unless they're an older person in your life with dementia, they didn't suddenly forget your mannerisms. They're just being judgy. Or they're trying to bully you into changing. And those people are not your friends. And if it is a potential partner trying to do those things, trying to make you talk when you said you had something to do so you wouldn't be available, or trying to make you feel bad because you already had plans and they tried to come to you last minute even though they know you're someone who likes to plan ahead, or say, oh, well, can you just come to the club? I want to go to the club. You know, I love going to the club, even though you're someone who's already made it known, hey, I don't like large crowds. It's not them forgetting who you are. It's them trying to test those waters. It's them trying to see, like, hey, you know, am I going to be able to make her do this? Be careful. If something does not seem right, if something does not feel right, if you're like, I feel like they're trying to make me be somebody or not, or I feel like they're trying to change me, or a big one, especially with friendships, they're trying to make you like their little do boy or their little minion. They want you to like co-sign everything they say, follow behind them. You know, they want you to be their little parrot. Be careful for that. I know as the introverts, we love to connect. Like, we love creating those deep connections. Usually when we're talking, when we're chatting, we want to get into that deep stuff. But be very careful. Don't get too deep into it. But again, with relationships, with all the relationships, with the family, with the friends, and with the romantic relationships, I do think there's definitely a little more leeway there when it comes to like just explaining who you are and how you are. Just don't get into that over explaining stage. If you have to explain every single time you hang out with somebody or every single time you talk to somebody, yeah, I'm this way because I'm an introvert, I like my solitude, or you feel like you have to defend who you are every time you're around these people, run. And I don't mean a little run. Get out of there. What are you still doing there? Go. No. We're not sticking around anybody who is trying to get us to care more about how they feel and what they think than who we are and what we like. Yeah, no. You like me and you're a little short? I don't care. Get those little legs moving. Get your butt up out of there. No. No. The aspect of life where I've had the most kind of trouble not worrying more about how people feel or how people perceive me, that's the workplace. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If I look traumatized right now, it's because I am. The workplace is like one of the hardest places because when it comes to the workplace, the judgment can be absolutely crazy for doing nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean literally nothing. The judgment for just being quiet and like the retaliation for not wanting to constantly talk and tell your business can be crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that it's not every workplace, but it's a lot of them, especially when it comes to us introverts. And it's really an issue that I wish was talked about more or handled, not even talked about more because people do talk about it. People do share their horror stories. What do you mean I'm getting called into HR because they said I created a hostile work environment because I'm too quiet? What do you mean there are multiple people with that story? And they are all telling the truth. Now, communication, I understand. If they had said, we want to see more of your communication skills or we want to see more of how you were able to communicate, okay, cool. I'll give you that. Communication skills, they can be important, especially at certain jobs. But having communication skills and talking all the time is two totally different things. And I believe they said exactly what they meant. And I don't think it's fair that that's not considered discriminatory. It's not a fair thing to do to somebody to make a place and a space that they have to enter on a daily basis a hostile place or a place where they don't feel emotionally safe just because they're a more quiet person and you would prefer them to be somebody who talks more or you prefer outgoing people. Not everybody in this world is outspoken and outgoing. Some people are more subdued. Some people prefer to speak when they have something to contribute. That doesn't mean they lack in communication. If she knows how to communicate with people in the workplace, she knows how to communicate. If y'all have customers, she knows how to communicate with the customers. Why does it matter that she doesn't sit and talk with y'all all the time? That makes no sense. I can definitely relate because I've always been that quiet coworker. I've always been the one who takes her lunch break in the car, the one who is sitting at her computer just working. I'm usually at my computer. If I can, I have my headphones in, just doing my job. I'm not the person you're going to see just constantly socializing and then don't even try to, let's socialize outside of work. We do not have to socialize with people that we don't want to. We do not have to sit here and make small talk and ask you how your weekend was and sit here and be all up in everybody's business to be good employees. Like it make sense. So the next time somebody tries to judge you or you're worried about what they think or you're worried about how they may perceive you, remember what it is. You're at work. You're doing a good job. Now, these may be strangers that you have to see every day, but they're strangers. And what do we say about strangers and their assumptions? Yeah. They could shove them because they have to make assumptions because they do not know you. Being quiet is not an act of aggression. Being quiet is not hostile. Am I quietly giving you this stare down? Like, what am I doing that's making you say that me being quiet is hostile? Like, am I being quiet? Like, what face am I making? Please tell me what exactly it is that we are doing that workplaces have now started, or bosses or whatever, have now started to say that, oh, being quiet is hostile. I've been seeing this way too much. When do we become a scapegoat? What's up with that? And why are other people so worried about somebody else? Anywhere, at any time, but especially at work. How you getting your job done if you're so worried about me? It don't make sense. But I've come to the realization, like, does it really need to make sense? Again, they're the same as these other people. They are strangers. Whatever they got to say, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody cares how you feel about me. I am not going to allow how you feel about me to have any bearing on who I am now or who I will be in the future. You are an absolute stranger. I may see you every day, but you're a stranger. Clearly, you know nothing about me whatsoever, besides the fact that I'm quiet, which does not in any way, shape, or form define who I am. It's a part of my personality. And I say that to say, let all of these people feel how they feel. You may have to kind of look at it differently. You may have to handle it differently. But at the end of the day, let people think what they want. Do not let other people think, family, friends, partners, co-workers, nobody. Do not let what other people think affect who you are. Do not let what other people think affect how you live your life. If they want to think you're weird, if they want to think you're rude, if they want to think you're stuck up, if they want to think you're mean, who cares? Let them think what they think. What I've learned is when it comes to family, don't try to force them to understand you. Don't try to make everybody get it. Don't get upset and don't get offended when they don't understand you or they just don't kind of get something about you. As long as they are respecting you, there will be things about them that you don't understand. Make sure they respect you, your boundaries, who you are. But as far as understanding you, everybody's not. Everybody's just not going to understand you. Everybody is not meant for you, just like you're not meant for everybody. Yeah. Who's meant for you will get it. It won't be hard. You won't have to over explain and always say that this and that. You won't constantly be asked, "Oh, are you okay?" Those that are for you will get it. Those that are not for you may not get it. And that's okay. Everybody is not for you, just like you are not for everybody. Be selective. It's okay to be selective about who you give your energy to. You should be. More people should be selective about who they give their energy to. But I'm not going to get into that one. But that's kind of where I'm at. At the end of the day, when you really just think about it and ask yourself why what someone else thinks matters, just ask yourself, should someone else's perspective of me really be running my life? Should I really be shaping my life around how somebody else feels about who I am? No, you should not. Why? Who are they? Who is anybody? Anybody that wants to judge you or anybody that feels like they should have a say so in who you are or how you live. Who are they for you to waste your energy trying to get them to understand? If someone does not like who you are, if someone does not like how you live your lifestyle, they don't have to be around you. They don't have to be your friend or they don't have to try to pursue you. At the end of the day, they can think whatever they want, but it has absolutely no effect unless you start believing it. And why should you? You know who you are. Don't ever allow somebody else to tell you who you are. How that work? How they know you better than you? They can think whatever they want, but don't you ever start believing it. You know who you are. Never let how they perceive you, the things they assume about you, any kind of judgments they make, never let that truly start affecting who you are. And as long as you don't believe it, what they think does not matter at all. As long as you don't give it that traction, who cares? You are who you are. What they think has no bearing on who you are, and it should never have any kind of effect on how you live your life. Live the life you want to live. Live the life that brings you peace. Live the life that makes you feel fulfilled, regardless of what anybody thinks about it. Because they can think whatever they want. But as I always say, don't you ever start believing it. As I grow from someone who's always been worried about pleasing the world into someone who lives fully, unapologetically, and always on her own terms, I can honestly say I already feel how much life has changed for me. Definitely for the better. Some bumps in the road, and not always easy, but it has definitely taken a turn for the better now that I'm living for me. The things I like, the things I love to do, the places I want to see, places I want to be, everything, the person I want to be, just living for me and for nobody else. The way I love myself, the way I show up for myself, even the way I see myself has started to change so drastically. And I can very confidently say, even on the hard days, even when it gets tough, it's definitely for the better. Ignore the restrictions that society may try to place on you with their judgments and assumptions. Lay the foundation for the life you want to live, regardless of what anyone thinks, regardless if they think it's not going to work, regardless of what that may look like, regardless of how anyone feels. They can think whatever they want, but remember who you are, stay true to who you are, and don't you ever start believing it. Live life your way, on your terms, always. Okay, friend, you know what time it is. It's about time for me to go. If you made it this far, comment who cares? Because, yeah, who cares what they think? They can think whatever they want, but don't you ever start believing it. Now, I'd love to know your thoughts. How did this episode sit with you? If you want to support, download the episode, comment or leave a review so our friends can find the show. And of course, don't forget to follow and subscribe so we can chat again. Rooting for you always. Love you bunches.